Alrighty, part 5 of the SAKTK Iceberg, the final part by the way. I think I've said this in a previous video or previous part before, but yes, I will be combining all 5 parts into one video once I'm done with this. Once the killer revamp updates come out. At the time of recording it hasn't come out, so once that comes out, I'll release an updated version of the SAKTK Iceberg where you can just watch the whole thing in one video, so you don't have to keep giving me ad revenue. You're welcome, by the way. But yeah, not going to make this intro any longer. Let's do this thing. Subject A. If you remember earlier on the iceberg, way back on layer 2, I briefly mentioned how written down on paper 12 within the Wendigo area computer room, the boss aberration is referred to as quote-unquote Subject B. We know this due to the mention of hate also within the paper, and so far aberration is the only confirmed entity within SAKTK, besides the corrupted ones, who have been confirmed to be infected with the said substance, meaning Subject B has to be her. But what about Subject A? I mean, if there's a Subject B, there's got to be a Subject A, right? I mean, it just makes so much sense. Well, you might assume that Subject A has never been mentioned in SAKTK ever, but that's where you're actually wrong. You see, back when Aberration had her own mini location, again like we mentioned earlier, there was a paper that was present around that area that had its contents completely changed when it was eventually added back to the game. This paper being known simply as Paper 7. Nowadays, Paper 7 is found in the sewer meeting room, and it just basically talks about how a meeting was held on the 18th of May 1957 about Cleaner 2. Yeah, it's pretty boring, it doesn't give us that much lore information at all. However, before the sewer expansion update and the paper was rewritten and repurposed, Paper 7 could be found behind the elevator in the old Aberration's containment area and read as follows. For Subject A blood, Hazard Suit Mark II, use standard biological waste kit. Human blood, standard biological waste kit. For Subject A secretion, observe Class 2 extraterrestrial cleanup procedures. For Subject B fluid, immediately report sighting to the nearest administrator. Do not make contact. So yes, this proves that Subject A did exist within the game at one point. I mean, they might still exist within the game. I mean, I'm not really sure. I mean, it's difficult to have Subject B without Subject A, right? What, did you just skip A entirely? I mean, it might be like Sector 2, where, yes, it is confirmed that Sector 2 does exist within the SAKTK lore, but they're not actually in the game, so I don't know. But who could Subject A possibly be? Have we even seen them before? Well, due to this entry being on the last layer of the iceberg, I think you can assume that not many people have talked about this within the SAKTK community before. However, I think that the most likely killer to fit the criteria of Subject A would probably be Alien. I mean, firstly, Subject A, Alien, feels a bit too similar for this to be a mere coincidence. And of course we know from the case files that I mentioned earlier that Alien is the first ever killer of Area 51, at least in terms of the lore. We also know that Subject A must have been classified before Aberration within the story, because you know Subject A has gotta come before Subject B, it makes sense. Also, the choice of words used within the paper. Secretion and extraterrestrial. Don't they remind you of anyone? Of course we know that Alien is an extraterrestrial. He was captured from a faraway planet as mentioned within other papers found around Area 51. That is a locked-in proven fact. And also the word secretion fits because, well, Alien spits acid. Secretion is basically just a fancy word for spitting. Once again, it lines up perfectly. The only thing that goes against this theory, though, in my opinion, is the comment on Subject A's supposed blood within Paper 7, as Alien simply doesn't have blood that he spews out when he dies. Unless the acid is his blood or something. I mean, human blood doesn't exist in SAKTK, so who knows? Well, I mean, adding blood to the alien would probably get the game taken down again if we've learned anything from the past few layers on this iceberg. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Is Subject A's secret identity indeed Alien, another killer we have in the game, or is it an entity we've never seen before? I'd love to get some feedback on this underrated mystery. The RPG was in the game. No, this isn't a hoax or a joke entry or anything like that. The RPG or rocket launcher was actually in SAKTK at one point, albeit all the way back in one of the first versions of the game. We know this because of 2 screenshots Homer provided to us a while back within the SAKTK Discord, in where a rocket launcher weapon can be seen very clearly in the radioactive area in place of where the ray gun spawns today. This was then replaced a few days later by a different RPG model, most likely because the old rocket launcher wasn't working correctly for whatever reason, and then later later, of course, this newer RPG was replaced with the MP5K weapon, and it hasn't been seen in the game since. But yeah, that's about it really. We don't really have too much more information on the RPG because, well, it was added and removed so quickly during a time when, you know, not many people were playing SAKTK. And again, we only really found out about it this recently from Homo Mafia 1 himself. Hey, maybe like the zombie bomb, Homo will add the RPG back into the game one day. Although I doubt it, since, you know, we already have many explodey weapons already in the game to replace the RPG, but who knows? It's certainly a possibility. Under the killer textures. This refers to a strange quirk that some of the killers have, or used to have within SAKTK, where due to the game not loading specific textures properly for whatever reason, specific killers can appear much differently. Leatherface appears with a weird looking zombie face, Eyeless Jack appears with a different mask, most likely modelled after another creepypasta fittingly named Masky, Pinhead appears as... what? And finally, Ghostface can be seen with a pumpkin-styled cape, although for this last one in a recent update, this has since been patched. This is because, as many of you may know by now, a lot of the older SAKTK killer models were not made by Homo Mafia 1. No, they were just made by, you know, bozos on the marketplace. They're free models, of course. And these free models... well, they were built using questionable methods to say the least, not by, you know, the most amazing builders ever. Basically what the original model creators did is that they most likely constructed the killers by taking assets from another already existing model made by somebody else, and instead of deleting the textures that were on the old model, they just slapped new images over them and called it a day. Yeah, I know, it's super lazy. But yeah, like I mentioned with Ghostface Pumpkin Cape being fixed, most of these texture bugs should get patched eventually since they are actually errors and mistakes and aren't supposed to be in the game. SAKTK 2017 hacking incident. Exploiters within SAKTK are annoying, although certainly manageable. Sure, they might use speed hacks or fly exploits to make the game unfun for about 10 minutes, but they usually swiftly get banned after turning on their cheats because, as we mentioned earlier, SAKTK does indeed have an inbuilt anti-exploit system that detects suspicious behavior. This wasn't always the case, however, as back in the older days of SAKTK, exploiters were capable of completely destroying servers and obliterating the map, making the entire game functionally unplayable. Keep in mind this is before Roblox added the infamous filtering enabled setting into every Roblox game, which, if you don't know, patched a lot of well-known and severe exploits and cheats that were commonplace back then. Now, originally I was going to cover the video that you're seeing in the background right now, however, looking at the destroyed map, it doesn't seem all too that interesting, and it was likely caused by a simple exploiting script that simply unanchored every part of the SAKTK map. Nothing too special. However, there is one video uploaded by my friend Brett in mid-2017 that shows one of these supposed quote-unquote hacking incidents, and what we find in the video is something that's very uncomfortable to watch. All the colours within the SAKTK map have been completely altered. Zombies now show up pink, the surface looks very odd, and even the blood shows up as some strange blue colour. Now, in all my years of playing Roblox and SAKTK, I have never seen something like this before, and to my knowledge, this is the only video I can find on YouTube showing this exploit, if it is even an exploit to begin with. Now, I know that some of you are screaming in the comments saying, Ash, what if Brett just, you know, swapped the colours in editing? I mean, it's very possible they could have, like, faked the whole thing. But I've actually spoken to Brett himself, and he doesn't know what happened either. You know, he just hopped into SAKTK one day, and the whole game was just weird, so he decided to, you know, record it. The more I watch the video, the more I get confused on what type of hack script could have caused something like this. It's certainly one of the strangest SAKTK videos I've ever watched. If there happens to be any Roblox developers watching this video, or anyone who knows a thing or two about exploiters, then please comment down below, even if it's just a theory. I'd love to know what people think of this, and how it might have been caused perhaps. And speaking of exploiters, Ghost Mode 65. Now, before I say anything about this person, I just want to give a firm warning to any of you watching the video right now. Please do not go and harass this individual. You aren't doing the right thing, and you're just going to make my community look bad. Okay. But anyway, Ghost Mode 65 is, for those unaware, the most infamous and well-known exploit creator of SAKTK history, and has been developing hacking software for the game as early as 2020. Now, I'm not going to show any screenshots of these exploits for obvious reasons, but what they do include is killer ESP, infinite ammo, fly hacks, and also no-clip. You know, common hack stuff. And according to SAKTK moderator HG Snaps, Ghost Mode 65 has reportedly been banned from SAKTK multiple times across many different accounts. As an added bonus fact, the SAKTK member and speedrunner who helped in the creation of this iceberg, Happy Sal, has apparently gotten in contact with Ghost Mode 65 and is planning on interviewing him on why he creates exploits for SAKTK, which is pretty funny, I must say. Anyway, sorry if this talk of Roblox exploits has gone on for a bit too long, I just really wanted to express my thoughts and feelings about them, and some of you might be asking right now on, why I added Ghost Mode 65 to the iceberg to begin with, and my response to that is, well, every iceberg's gotta have a spicy entry to it, even if it's just talking about Roblox exploiters. Yeah, that's the darkest thing you're ever gonna get out of this game. It's scarier than the killers, exploiters. 4391. If you thought this entry had something to do with the previously mentioned 81975 alien code that I mentioned earlier, then yes, you'd be correct. However, it goes a bit deeper than that. In fact, we don't even fully know if the code 4391 was even in SAKTK at one point. You see, if you scroll back far enough from Homo Mafia 1's inventory before the image of the 81975 code even existed, 3 images displaying the code 4391 can be found, each with the name Images Blood, Images Test 2, and Images Test 2.1, all uploaded on the same day, on the 4th of December 2015. Because of the similarities between the last 4391 decal image and the image for the 81975 code that was used in the game until that was eventually replaced by the modernized code system we have today, one pretty strong theory to believe is that the code 4391 was the original first ever code in Sanctum, however only stuck for around 17 days before it was removed and replaced. Why the code was changed, we have no idea. I mean, maybe Homer preferred a 5-digit code as opposed to a 4-digit code, so it's more difficult to remember, or, maybe the original code just didn't work for whatever reason. I'm not sure. However, surprisingly, there is another code within Homo Mafia 1's inventory that was uploaded much later than the previously mentioned 81975 code, which displays the numbers 794307, and has never appeared in SAKTK, at least to my knowledge. Again, I have no idea what this could have been used for, so again, please let me know of any theories you might have in the comments down below. God Mode glitch. Probably the most overpowered glitch in SAKTK history. The God Mode glitch, like the name suggests, made you completely invincible from damage while it was in the game. Again, it doesn't work anymore in SAKTK today, as it evolved using the Invincibility Star game pass we mentioned all the way back on layer 1. The first and easiest method of doing this glitch was to activate the Invincibility Star, walk into the radioactive area, and for whatever reason the game would display that you had no health, while also somehow still being alive. And because you had no health, killers could not damage you whatsoever. However, this first method of the God Mode glitch came at a cost, as upon using it, yes, you were invincible from damage, but you weren't able to shoot or use any guns. Unfortunately, I don't have much proof of this first method, as all I have is a video uploaded all the way back in 2019 that I've since privated showing the glitch. You'll just have to believe me, okay? The second method of the God Mode glitch, though, was arguably much more overpowered than the first, as it also allowed you to shoot guns. The way of performing this method involved our good old pal Ghostface, yet the same guy responsible for the gun duplication bug we mentioned earlier on the iceberg. Now all we had to do for this method of the glitch was simply use the Invincibility Star, give Ghostface the item, kill Ghostface, pick up the item again, and bam, you become invincible from damage just like that. And again, you could use weapons with this glitch. Thankfully though, again, these glitches were patched as soon as the SAKTK community found out about them, so nobody could really abuse them in, let's say, killer mode or something like that. And I think these glitches even existing in the first place is just another factor or another reason on why the Invincibility Star is gone from the game nowadays. Missing rooms in Endless Survival. This entry isn't super obscure or anything, but the sheer mystery of it and the fact that I haven't seen anyone else discuss this topic makes it deserving to be on the 5th layer of the iceberg. Now again, if you see my SAKTK timeline video that I made a couple months ago, you'll know that we deduced that Endless Survival is the last canonical mode within the SAKTK storyline. How do we know this? Well, the mode's name is literally Endless Survival after all, and because all of the rooms within all of the other modes also appear within Endless. As if you don't know, an easy way to figure out where a SAKTK mode falls within the timeline is by looking for what rooms are present in it compared to other modes. For example, the Tail Stole or Checkpoint area exists within Classic mode, Killer mode, Endless mode, Juggernaut mode, etc., but doesn't appear within Storming mode. This means that it had to have been built after Storming, and thus proves that Storming mode comes before Classic, Killer, Juggernaut, Endless mode. You get it. However, what I just said about Endless Survival having all of the rooms and locations from previous modes within it isn't exactly true, and there are actually some rooms that should be in Endless, but are for whatever reason missing. Notable examples include the execution room, the secret bunker room, and the Wendigo area, and all of the vents throughout Classic and Killer mode. The entrances to these locations aren't boarded up or anything, no, they are straight up gone, as if they never existed. I'm pretty sure all of this is just an oversight by Homer, as the rooms I just mentioned wouldn't work in the context of endless survival. I mean, especially the vents, you could just camp in there forever and grind out points. But it does make the lore of the game a little inconsistent, so hey, maybe this will get changed in the future. The VIP door. The VIP game pass within SAKTK is one of the more popular, controversial, and overpowered passes in the game. What it does is that when you buy it, whenever you enter specific game modes, you'll instantly obtain all of the weapons within your inventory without having to look for them around the map, with certain exceptions of course. This wasn't always the case however, as when the game pass was first introduced into SAKTK, you actually had to go to a specific room found around the map to get your money's worth. This room could be found in a Pack-a-Punch hallway, and once you enter the VIP door, you will receive all of the weapons. Supposedly. I say supposedly because I can only find one video in the entirety of YouTube that actually shows this VIP door still in the game, and the person in the video doesn't even go into the room, so sources are very limited here. Nowadays it's pretty obvious on why this was changed. The VIP game pass exists so that players don't actually have to look around the map without, finding all the weapons, and just get them in their inventory. And I don't know, it's just kind of counterintuitive to have the VIP door exist because it's also a location around the map, so it kind of just defeats the purpose of the pass, so yeah, I'm very glad this was changed. I still believe the VIP game pass shouldn't be in killer mode though, but whatever, that's a discussion for another day. SAKTK Futuristic Area. SAKTK Futuristic Area is a strange, mysterious game that can only be found in Homomorphy1's inventory under the Places category, as the place in question isn't available on its profile page. Unfortunately, the game itself is private, meaning it's impossible to access, but what could it be? What's its purpose? Does it hold the long-lost Sector 2 map? Well, no, because the place was last updated in December of 2020, and it was created all the way back on the 21st of March 2019. A pretty good theory on what this place might be used for is that it's a backup map for either the Tailstone location or the previously mentioned Old Aberration area, as I feel both of those locations fit the description of a quote-unquote futuristic area, and it makes sense to hold them in a different game, as the developer Subatomic Sam also helped build these maps, and usually when Homer makes new locations by himself, he just builds them in test servers. I would assume he doesn't need to create a whole new place. But anyway, that's just a theory. We'll probably never know what SAKTK's futuristic area truly is, but I think it's still fun to speculate. SAKTK 3 planned. If you remember early on the Iceberg, I mentioned the forgotten Area 51 game SAKTK 2, which was created by SB Portula, one of Homomorphy1's friends. It was then later handed over to the player General Punctuation, in which the game itself hasn't really had an update since. However, during this change of ownership, both SB Portula and General Punctuation were actually working on a sequel to SAKTK 2, unofficially named SAKTK 3. However, their game was never fully completed. You see, after I made that video on SAKTK 2 a while ago, General Punctuation, the new owner of the game, actually came to me and told me about how him and SB Portula actually got pretty far into development of what they called SAKTK 3. Unfortunately, General only gave me 3 screenshots of SAKTK 3's map. However, in the pictures that he did give me of the game, it actually looks pretty unique, and I start to get fairly excited. It seems like they made significant progress before abandoning the project. And hey, if either General or Portula are watching right now, I'd love a full tour of the map someday. Removed loading screen text. Loading screens are a mechanic within SAKTK that have been in the game since around mid-2021. They're essentially just screens that show up every time you teleport to a mode, to and from the main menu, and can list things like tips and tricks, trivia, or just general facts about the game. However, back when loading screens were first released within test servers of February 2021, there was one piece of text that appeared on the loading screens that has since been removed. It reads as follows. Hint. This is a very long text test to see if I can fix the mobile text bug. Yeah, it's pretty obvious why this loading screen text was removed from the game, but since Homer wrote this one in particular, it's still unknown what this mobile text bug was. Although this entry doesn't have a lot to it, it was in the test servers at one point. Dear Icy Fresh, if you recall on layer 1 of the Iceberg, I mentioned how Icy Fresh was the original creator of the underground base map, which has since been gone on to be used in basically every single Area 51 game on Roblox. The underground base map itself is fairly normal, it's just an underground base of course. However, within one of the rooms within the map, specifically opposite the room where the alien cone could be found in the main game, there exists a note on a desk titled Dear Icy Fresh, and reads as follows. Dear Icy Fresh, hey, it's me, FireDart95, and I'm apologising for getting on your account. All I did was make sure that your game got onto the top page, and to add a little something to your description. Sorry if you didn't like that, but I didn't take any money. Like I said, all I did was add something to the description, read a few private messages, and had you join the new Delta Force, Rain Block 6. Once again, sorry. Love, FireDart95. P.S. I accidentally spilled coffee on your carpet, XD. Well, that's interesting story, cool. But yeah, I don't really know who FireDart95 is, what he was doing on IceFresh's account to begin with, nor what the quote-unquote Delta Force is. But from the looks of things, IceFresh seemed to have liked the note enough to put it in his game, so that's something I guess. In fact, this very note was in SAKTK at one point, albeit a very long time ago, and you can even find it in many other Roblox Area 51 games completely untouched. But yeah, that's about it really. A cool little Easter egg into the life of IceFresh, a Roblox user we still don't really know much about. I seriously wonder if he knows that his underground base map is probably the most stolen game in Roblox history. It's possible. Seconds Alive leaderboard. The value of leaderboards within SAKTK heavily depend on the game mode that you're playing. Classic and Killer mode both have Killer's Kill, Juggernaut and Endless mode use points, etc. However, what you may not know is that for a couple of days when SAKTK was first released, there was a leaderboard known as Seconds Alive, which, like the name suggests, was based off how many seconds you were alive within that server. Now, I think it's pretty evident on why this leaderboard was removed. I mean, you could just sit on the surface and get as many points as you wanted, and they didn't save between servers, so you know, didn't really matter. You can do anything with the points, so all those two people who actually miss it, probably not even two people, I don't think anyone saw this leaderboard. It was only in the game for a couple days, like I said, so that's the Seconds Alive leaderboard. No one cares about it. The Russian Spy. A while back on the Iceberg, if you remember, while I was discussing the existence of aliens within Area 51 storming comparatively to the alien in classic mode, I briefly mentioned Alien's backstory on his case file, explaining that the reason why Alien is hostile in classic mode and not storming mode is because Alien in classic mode was brainwashed by a quote-unquote Russian spy to act the way he does. Now, this so-called Russian spy, who still doesn't have a name in the SAKTK lore, has never been mentioned anywhere in SAKTK beyond Alien's case file. So why do I bring this up again? Well, let's just say that maybe this so-called Russian spy has more significance to the SAKTK story than we first thought. Just think about it. So far, the SAKTK lore makes sense. We free all the aliens within Area 51 storming mode, one of the aliens gets captured and sent back to Area 51, supposedly, and is brainwashed by the Russian spy, leading him to be contained within classic mode, only accessible via a special code. It's certainly a convenient explanation for the change in the alien's behavior, but that got me thinking, what if this so-called Russian spy not only brainwashed the alien, but all of the other kills within Area 51 as well? And I know this goes against half of the things I said in my SAKTK timeline video, but I honestly think this theory might be plausible. Like, think about it. Do we really know why the killers are friendly in storming mode to the soldiers, but are aggressive in all of the other modes? Well, not really. Sure, we've had small hints here and there from certain papers found around classic mode, but nothing really concrete. Obviously, we don't have much more information on this Russian spy character, but who knows? They could play a significant role within SAKTK 2. I could see the Russian spy definitely being the mysterious entity. I mean, mysterious entity kind of looks like a spy, so who knows? A special round. SAKTK VIP servers offer many benefits towards the server owner, as they are able to modify the games in ways the average player in a public server would not be able to. These benefits include special perks such as being able to change the background music, have the ability to do storming mode solo, and being able to set your starting round and number of players within Endless Survival to be any value you wish. Once again, earlier on the Iceberg, we mentioned how this feature can be used to access round 666 more easily, and you can go all the way up to round 999 if you really want it. It's an easy and quick way to access any round you want in the game. However, what isn't as well known is the limits of this Endless Survival starting round system. First discovered by Russ on Sound in late 2022, if you type in NAN for the starting round, the game will display whatever this number is. But the quirks to this glitch don't stop there. Of course, that same ridiculous value shows up when you actually start the round, but not only that, killers will not spawn during this game, like ever. Every single round you encounter using this glitch will be a Hellhound round. No, I am not joking. Oh, and if you think you're smart and try to disable Hellhound rounds before the game begins, the round will just start and stop over and over and over again, which results in you basically being soft-locked. And you want to know the worst part about this glitch? The round counter will never go up. Yeah, you're stuck here forever in purgatory. The only option is to leave the game. Now you might be wondering, how on earth is a glitch like this actually caused? And let me tell you, it's not actually SAKTK's fault at all, but rather Roblox's doing. You see, the value NAN or NAN actually means not a number, and for whatever reason Roblox's coding language Lua interprets NAN as whatever this value is, which of course results in you being able to perform this bug within SAKTK, and theoretically this could work in other Roblox games too. Well, any Roblox game that allows you to type a value in, that is. But yeah, I recommend trying this bug out for yourself. All you need is a SAKTK VIP server, and it likely won't get patched for a very long time, because, you know, it's not Homer's fault. But I must say, breaking Endless Survival and Roblox in general is pretty fun. SAKTK's original place. Now, some hardcore SAKTK fans may know that the first version of the game was published all the way back on October 20th, 2015, as it's mentioned within one of the game's loading screens. However, if you look back at the creation date of SAKTK, the place was actually made on the 29th of April, 2014, the same day Homer created his Roblox account. This is because every single Roblox profile is a starting place for when you sign up, and SAKTK was indeed once Homer's starting place. He just overwrote it or something. However, what you may not know is what SAKTK looked like during its creation date and its official release date, and all of the information I'm about to talk about comes straight from Homer Mafia 1, so this isn't made up stuff or anything. Everything I'm about to talk about is 100% real. The very first version of SAKTK was a simple grass base plate, and like I just mentioned, this is Homer's starting place, as back then in 2014, well, this is all Roblox gave you to work with as your starting place. Yeah, it's pretty boring. However, a month later, on the 16th of May 2014, SAKTK was changed to become Inobi? Yeah, that's right. At this point, I reckon Homer was just messing around within Roblox Studio, and originally wanted to create an obstacle course of some sort, albeit this one was never finished, it seems. Another month down the line, and Homer had changed SAKTK once again, this being a copy of the infamous slide down 9999999 feet games on Roblox. I'm sure a couple of you have played those before. This is most likely because Homer was trying to copy what was popular at the time back then. I mean, hey, we all gotta start somewhere, right? The next version of SAKTK, published 3 days after the slide down 9999999 feet game was made, isn't anything special. It's literally an all blank place. Homer states that he most likely gave up at this point for unknown reasons. Maybe because he just couldn't come up with any ideas, or he accidentally deleted everything. Who knows? However, on the very same day, just a few hours later after he deleted everything, and probably my favourite version of SAKTK before SAKTK even existed, was that Homer wanted to create a Nintendo tycoon. This was because tycoons at the time were, once again, very popular, and Homer wanted to copy them, trying to follow popular trends. Homer would keep this Nintendo tycoon untouched for around the whole year, until changing the place once again. And this is where we see Homer take some interest from the horror genre on Roblox. Do you recognize this game? If not, it's actually a copy of Hospital Nightmare, a very old Roblox story horror game that was infamous, much like Area 51 games, for being copied, distributed, and stolen many times. Homer probably just took the map from a free model and once again tried to capitalize off of it. Yeah, SAKTK really used to be a copy of Hospital Nightmare, it's kind of insane. But after that didn't work, of course, Homer turned to the Area 51 genre on Roblox. SAKTK was born and the first version of the game was published on the 20th of October 2015. And this is what the surface originally looked like. And yeah, there are guns up here for some reason. Not gonna question it. And that's just about where our story ends. From there, Homer went on and created the game we all know and love today. But yeah, that's the story of SAKTK. It was created originally as a cash grab. That's kind of funny, actually. Of course, it's not a cash grab anymore because the game has evolved so much and it's now the most popular Area 51 game ever with over 1 billion visits, so, you know, it's safe to say that SAKTK is much better than it used to be. So, yeah, that's the story of SAKTK. And now you're aware of it too. Area 51 Test. Area 51 Test is a theorized alternate account of Homer Mafia 1 that he supposedly uses to test new SAKTK updates. The main reason why the account is theorized to be him is due to the fact that whenever the test servers update or are about to update, this is usually the account that is seen online, and very few interactions have actually been documented with it. Although, as a fun little coincidence, a couple of months ago while I was scripting this video, I actually managed to run into Area 51 Area51 tests themselves within the SAKTK test servers. And yeah, I killed them several times. Okay, then let me ask you what you would do if you saw Homer's ult in-game. However, what was most interesting about this interaction is that when they became a survivor, all they seemed to do was stand outside of the bathroom of Jack's spawn, and they even let me kill them as Jack. Perhaps because they're testing something? Well, okay, maybe that's not enough evidence for you. I mean, this could literally be anyone. So what? They're testing killers in test servers. That's what YouTubers and players alike do all of the time. Well, there's mountains of more evidence that I'm about to share with all of you that will prove that this is HomerMafia1's alt account. I feel like a conspiracy theorist right now, but stick with me. Now, let's just talk about the Area51 test account itself. It was created all the way back on the 22nd of October 2015. Now sure, this date at first doesn't seem anything out of the ordinary, but then you remember the day SAKTK was first released, that day being on the 20th of October 2015, and now the pieces are starting to fall into place. Not only that, but I find it very interesting that an account created all the way back then would still be playing SAKTK today. Like, it just doesn't seem right. Like, their name is Area51 Test, their account is over 7 years old and they still play SAKTK, and SAKTK has Area51 in their name. I just don't know. Now sure, it's not impossible that this is some random guy. It might be the most hardcore SAKTK fan ever, sure. But let's keep going. Moving on to Area51 Test's inventory, and this is where you might actually start to believe me that this account is owned by Homer. Looking at the Game Passes section of Area51 Test's inventory, you'll find only 3 passes. 2 of them being from, you guessed it, SAKTK, with the final pass also being made by HomerMafia1, for one of his other discontinued games known as Whomp's Fortress. Now, isn't it a bit suspicious that the only game passes that this account owns were created by Homer? If this was a real account, wouldn't they have lots of other game passes maybe? What's so special about SAKTK to them? And why do they still play the game to this day? And why do they buy a pass from one of Homer's other games that is now private? Anyways, moving on to the badges section of Area51 Test's inventory, and once again the first badges that they've ever collected on Roblox are indeed SAKTK's badges. However, not only that, but the badges line up perfectly in the order in which the badges were created for the main game. What do I mean by this? Well, Atomic Bomb was the first ever badge created for SAKTK, and conveniently it's the first badge in Area51 Test's inventory. Attacker was the second badge added to the game, and oh look, it's the second badge in Area51 Test's inventory as well, and so on and so forth. They also have the Mysterious Entity badge, so that's a thing. That badge is very difficult and confusing to get if you don't have YouTube tutorials, like my god. Still not convinced? Well, just take a look at the fact that Area51 Test also has one uploaded audio to the account, created by the music artist Mayu, which if you remember all the way back on layer 1 is, well, what do you know, the same music artist that created all of the tracks for the main menu screen within SAKTK. Now yes, I know it's possible that Area51 Test is again just a big fan of Mayu, maybe they listen to the SAKTK main menu screen while they sleep or something like that, but it just doesn't add up with all of the other evidence we've been given so far. I mean, you know, their name is Area51 Test, they play SAKTK, it's got Area51 in the name, they play test servers, so obviously they're aware of, you know, Homer's stuff, they've looked into HomerMafia1's account. You know, anyone who plays test servers obviously either watch YouTube or, you know, they look into HomerMafia1's account and see his group, then find SAKTK test servers. So this isn't just some random, you know, random player that's just been playing SAKTK for 6 years. No, this person is dedicated. And, you know, it just lines up perfectly for this account being HomerMafia1. Now, at this point in the video, you're probably all wondering, well, this has to be Homer's secret alt account. However, there are just 2 tiny small things that keep me from that conclusion. For one, their friends list are full of the most random Roblox players. At least to my knowledge, they're random. Is this some way Homer's trying to cover up the fact that his account is his? Maybe, although I'm not really sure. And 2, they have a lot of badges that aren't SAKTK related. Sure, the first badges that Area51 Test ever obtained are from SAKTK, but I don't know, there are a lot of them that aren't as well. So how do I explain this? Well, I have a small theory. It's a bit of a long shot, but bear with me here. Perhaps Area51 Test is indeed Homer's alt account, but it's hosted on a different device, perhaps a different phone, a different laptop, or a different computer that he owns. Sometimes he just uses it to test SAKTK updates, like the interaction I had with him on test servers a while ago, and sometimes he just uses it to play random Roblox games without being disturbed or noticed. But what do you think? I'd love to get your guys' opinion on this. Am I going insane? I mean, probably. We've just gone through almost 100 entries on this iceberg about a Roblox game where you have to kill killers at Area51 with fictional weapons. But yeah, leave your thoughts down below. Maybe one day Homer will confirm something. And that was it. That was the SAKTK Iceberg. Oh my god, this video was long. Much longer than I wanted it to be. Of course, I probably missed a few entries, and thanks, and I know I made a few errors in there, but can you really blame me? We just went through a lot of SAKTK content, and my computer is about to blow up because I have around 700 gigabytes of SAKTK footage, God help me. Thanks to everyone who stuck around, by the way. I get that this iceberg was really long, but yeah, I hope someone out there at least learned a new thing about this Roblox game that I love so much. But yeah, I don't really want to drag this video on much longer. I mean, I've already taken up, I don't know how long this video is, maybe like an hour, 40 minutes of your time, you know. Go touch some grass, go get a girlfriend, or boyfriend if that's what you prefer. Just go do something productive now. You deserve it, alright? I don't know. Go do something. I'm gonna go. I have no idea how to end this video. I didn't even write anything down on my script, so I'm gonna go take a rest and probably die. So if there's never another video from me, then you'll know the reason. So bye. Goodbye. See ya.